Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Sidetrack, bringing you our next look at applied energistics. In this episode, we're going to take a look at the storage abilities of this awesome mod. So, what are you going to need if you want to start using this mod? Well, in its most basic form, you're going to need some energy source, and I'm going to use a creative energy cell from thermal expansion. You could use most of the major energy um, systems. So you can use buildcraft power, thermal expansion, obviously. You can use universal electric. You can use industrial craft. Any of those will work perfectly fine to power this mod because this is a tech-based mod. It does require power. Other than power, you're going to need two things for a basic setup. You're going to need an ME chest, and you're going to need a storage cell. There are 4 different size storage cells that are used for storing items. We're going to be showing you the smallest, the 1K storage, but there's also a 4K, a 16K, and a 64K. So grab both of these, and I'm going to put my ME chest right here. And I'm going to break this for a second. And it's going to go flying over there. All right, so once you place your ME chest, it should be noted that you can rotate your ME chest and any of the applied energistics items with your crystal wrench or quartz wrench. And it also works with any of the kind of omni tools. Your crescent hammer from thermal expansion will work. But when you right-click on this with an open hand or any other item, as long as it's not a wrench, this is what you're presented with. You will get a grayed out area, and you cannot put items in there, except you can throw them on the ground if you click over here. And there will be a paper doll of a storage segment, or storage cell. So we're going to go ahead and put one of those in here. Oh, apparently it was connected for long enough for it to get power. Darn it. Well, it'll run out of power eventually. So it'll run for a while. It does not use much power. The nice thing about the storage ME chest is it doesn't use a whole lot of power. It has an internal buffer, so it'll run for a little while. And when you put a storage cell in there, this light on the top will turn green. Notice if I take this out, it will gray out. Put it back in there, turns green. Pretty cool. So once it's in here and it's got power, this will become available. And you can start throwing items in there. You can throw in the chest, I can throw in this other storage cell, maybe these ME chests, and it will sort them according to some kind of criteria. Right now I have it sorting by the number of items. I can sort from largest to smallest, or I can toggle the order and do smallest to largest. I can sort by the priority, ignore that for now. I can sort by item ID. I can sort by item name, and then again, number of items. So pretty cool. Other than that, it works just like a chest. Just chests that needs power, and it needs a storage segment. Now, the cool thing about this is if I take this storage segment out of here, you can still see that it says on here, it says it's got 3 out of 63 types of items. It's using a certain amount of the 1024 bytes, and I could put it back in here, and they appear again. So pretty cool. Now, I just so have loaded up another storage segment that has a whole lot of stuff in here. So you can use this to store, say you want all your cobblestone on one disk. Well, throw them in here. You can take it out, store it in a chest. Very, very simple, very basic way to store items. Probably not my preferred way of doing it. I never use it this way. But, it must have run out of power. You can now see that it's all grayed out. I cannot extract any items out of here. And then the top has gone gray. So gray says no power. Green says it's got power. And orange says that it has power. However, it is full of items. You can see that every single inventory slot in here has an item in it. If you mouse over here, you will see that it has 63 out of 63 different types, meaning that this storage segment, and really any of the storage segments, no matter how big they are, say that one more time, any storage segment can only store 63 different types of items. So you're going to need more than one storage segment, even if you make the largest storage segment possible. because it can only store 63 items on it. A lot of people get confused about that. I've seen people complaining about it, not knowing what to do. Just want to point that out. And then the other thing that you'll see is that I'm using 1008 out of 1064 bytes used. So I still have additional space in here, provided I put something in here that is already in here. So let's search for, get myself some more levers. I can add additional levers to here. Let's sort smallest to largest. So I now have 128 levers. 192. Oh, I can only go up to 193 levers because, and the rest of these won't go in there, because I have maxed out on the bytes used. I am using all 10,024 bytes, and you'll notice that the light at the top has now turned red, which gives you a very quick visual as you're running past your network to see, oh, my network's full, I better do something about it. I better make some more cells. I better take some stuff out and throw it away. However you decide to deal with that, it's up to you. The next thing I want to point out is that your storage cells are more efficient at storing fewer types of items. So if I take out 63 ME chests, you'll see that it goes down to 1009 bytes used. If I add one chest, it's only one item, it's going to go from 1009 to 1017. So that was 8 bytes just to store this type of item. Now I can add the rest of these chests to fill it back up. Notice that one is 8 bytes, the other 62, what is that right now? 17 is just another 7 bytes. Important to note. In fact, in its most extreme form, this is the largest storage cell, can store all of these chests worth of items if it's only one type of item. So say you have that much cobblestone. You can condense them down onto one storage cell. However, if you were to store 63 different types of items, you would only be able to store 4,160 stacks. This wall represents 8,128 stacks. So if you store all 63 different types, even on the largest cell, you'll store half as much as if you put all one type. To give you something probably a little easier to see, 63 different types is roughly the equivalent of 3 chests. So 3 chests worth 63 different types. If I were to, that's, pretty much equivalent to what I have right here. 3 chests worth, a little less than that, I think. If I were to only do cobblestone, or only do leaves, or who knows, whatever you have a lot of, dirt, it will store 5 chests worth of items. So it's an important distinction to make. Less items equals more efficient. Your storage space, you can store more items. You with me? I hope so. All right, so basic storage, ME chest, needs power, needs a storage segment or a storage drive. Pretty cool. Next up, what we're going to look at is an ME network. I'm going to grab a couple of these items. We're going to start by looking at our ME controller. Now, just like our ME drive, our ME controller needs power. So I'm going to hook it up to this redstone energy conduit, just like that. You'll see that right on the front, it has a visual for how much power it has. It is full of power. If you right-click on it, this is kind of the interface it has. It tells me that I'm using Buildcraft units because I have this selected. I have 2,000 Minecraft joules in here. It's using 1.2 Minecraft joules a tick. So just the controller actually uses energy, even though it doesn't do anything. I can cycle through different types of units. If I were using EU for industrial craft, if I was using, what is that, from Universal Electric, and rotary craft. Applied Energistics is native to it, and Buildcraft. Effectively, thermal expansion converts the redstone flux to Buildcraft energy at a ratio of 10 to 1. All right, so ME controller is the brains of our network. The next thing you're going to want to make is an ME drive, probably. Now, you could get away with doing several ME chests. So the ME, you can kind of take your pick. You can do, a couple ME chests, or you can do an ME drive. An ME drive, effectively, is, what is that, 10 chests in one block. So I always go with the drives. And the drive effectively functions like a chest. You throw a storage drive in there, and just like on here, it will light up telling you how much space or how many items are in here. But as it is right now, I can't access it. If I use the drive, I can't access it. Right-clicking on it, there's no way to see what's in here. I can go over to this chest, and I can't see what's on here. I can pull this out, come over here, throw it in here. I can see what's in the ME chest, but there's no way to see what's in the ME drive. So how do you fix that? Well, what you need is an ME access terminal. So your ME access terminal will sit here. It'll sync up. I should note that the only way these are connecting is by touching. You don't need to run cables, although you can. There's no point as long as they're touching each other. And the access terminal, provided it's connected to your controller, and you can right-click on the controller and now see that, well, we have a drive on there, we've got an access terminal, and we've got that ME drive, ME chest is what I should have said. We are using more power than we were before, and these are all connected together. So if I click on my access terminal, whoa, I will see that I have all those items. I have the items that are on this ME drive. I have the items that are in this chest. So everything that is on here I can now see. And the really cool thing is I can search for things. Because, if you're like me, you have thousands upon thousands of items and you don't know what to do with them all. And you're like, where are my diamonds? So start typing in diamond and you get your diamonds, your diamond blocks, your diamond ore. Very, very cool, very useful. You can also say, well, what do I have a lot of? Well, you can sort by number of items, just like you could with your ME chest. You can see that my levers are what I have the most of. Fancy. We're going to talk more about these stored versus craftable in the next video. But note that there is a button here that if you want to view your stored items versus the items that your system can craft, you'll notice that I have no items my system can craft. You can, and this is important to note because sometimes this gets locked on and gets frustrating. If you click this, you can basically go through several different methods. You can sync it with your NEI. So if you type in LEVER, oh, nope, that doesn't do it. Let's see, maybe I have to do it up here. There we go. In this one, it will search for the same things in NEI that it does in your terminal. Standardized, yeah, it's kind of up to you. I like doing it this way because then I can stop searching from here and then search for something else down here. Maybe I want to use a lever and I want to make a ME terminal. Nope, access. If I can spell. Yeah. You'll play around with it, you'll see what I mean. It's worth noting that this is here. All right, so access terminal lets you access things on the ME drive. And that's pretty cool. But it gets even better. The next thing, and this is what I always go ahead and make, is an ME crafting terminal. Now your crafting terminal kind of puts the best of all worlds together. You get access to all of your items, and you get a crafting window to boot, which is great. So, say you want to make yourself an iron gate. Why not? Iron gate tells me I'm going to make 16 of them. I know that I have, oops, wrong button. Iron in here. If I make a set of iron bars, it repopulates the crafting recipe. You can see that I've used some out of here. I can make some more. If I hold down Shift and click, I can make an entire stack all at once. Very cool. The other amazingly awesome thing, and this gets better with more advanced recipes. Let's go ahead and hopefully this doesn't give me this. Nope, it did. Well, I can do this. If I have the items, and unfortunately I don't, I'm not going to have the obsidian or the books. Let's do something that I have. A block of iron, why not? If you hold down Shift and click on the question mark, this is obviously if you have NEI, it will auto-populate the recipe in your crafting terminal as long as you have the items up here, which is really cool. Telephone. And it lets you make things very, very quickly It's very cool. Somebody else is going to answer that phone, I swear. There we go. I knew it. All right. So, very, very cool. All right, so you've got your access terminal. You've got your crafting terminal. You really don't need both of them. I mean, let me show you this. Your crafting terminal actually uses an access terminal to make it. So I make an access terminal and promptly turn it into a crafting terminal because it's not that much more difficult. The storage cell is kind of a pain in the neck to make, as you can see. But other than that, nice and simple. It gets even better. So what happens if, say, you've got your terminal over here or your ME network over here and you're in another room, say over here, and pretend this is, another part of my base, and I'm like, well, I want to have access to my stuff over here. Well, I can put down a crafting terminal and it says, oh, unable to communicate with controller. Uh-oh. Well, you can run ME cable. And this is not going to look very beautiful. And as long as it's connecting something that is connected to your controller, and you can come all the way over here, and it lights up, and yay, I have access to all of my items. So this is great if you've got a base with multiple areas that you like to have access to. It's very, very cool. Gets even better than that. We're going to talk about a wireless access in another video. All right, so very cool. You've got access to all of your items. You can craft using your items. You can have everything all in one place. The last thing I want to show you is this thing we call the partition editor. Now, the partition editor does not need to be connected to your network. You'll notice that it's not connecting to the cable. It's not connecting here. Even if I were to stick it next to it, it's not going to connect. And there we go. Shift right click or sneak right click. Your partition editor allows you to change what items will get put on your storage disks. And of course, okay, so give myself a storage disk. The way this works is you put the storage disk up here, and then you add items to it. So I want iron bars to go in here. I want ME chests to go in here. I only want iron bars and ME chests. That's all I want. I can give it a name. Bars, chests, whatever. Usually I will do something for, all of my ingots because I have lots of ingots, iron and silver and copper and you name it. Click format. And now your storage says its name is bars and chests. It only allows certain items to go on here. And my name says bars and chests, so I know, oh, I only can put iron bars and ME chests on here. There are a couple of options for how this works. If it's a item that you already have, if you already have items on your ME storage, you can click partition storage, which will, say it's going to partition based on what's already in there. Since this is empty, it's just going to delete everything that we had just formatted. You can do precise matching, or what we call fuzzy matching. And this looks at the item IDs. So your item IDs sometimes have numbers after them, especially a lot of the ingots. Using fuzzy will allow items with different values. Another great way to think about this is with your sword. Your sword, you make a brand new sword, you hit somebody with it, and then it takes a durability loss. Well, if you match it by fuzzy, any swords that of say iron will go in there no matter what their durability. So it helps with putting things in there. If you want only perfectly pristine swords, then you'd use precise and make sure that you put a pristine, perfect sword in here. You can, compare the damage, lots of different options, a little more complicated than I want to get into right now. And I'm only going to allow the listed items. Or I can reject the listed items, meaning I don't want iron bars and I don't want ME chests in here. Basically a whitelist versus blacklist. All right, so we forward it, take it over here, and we can throw it in our network. So upon putting it in network, you'll notice that it is orange, meaning that only certain items can go in there. It has room, but it will only put certain things in there. So if I come over here, and let me do this so you can see the light flash. Iron bars, throw them in my network. Notice that they went into this chest because that little light flashed. Iron bars, into this storage segment. ME chests, why did they go into here? Well, you'll notice that I already have some ME chests in here. And what your basic network will try to do is it will store items in a place that it already has the items. So if I take all of the ME chests out of here, let's click here, take them all out, this has no ME chests left in it, and now I can throw them in here, and they'll go into this spot. Because your ME network tries to be smart, and this sometimes creates problems for you, in that it tries to do things in the most logical way that will use the least amount of space. But if you're like me and you just partition a new drive, it may not put them on here. It may put them on a drive you don't want things to go on. And that also ends up being a problem if you start throwing cobblestone in there and your cobblestone drive gets full. It'll start putting them and filling up all your other drives, and it's a little bit of a headache. But pay attention to it, and it's not a big problem. All right, I think I've rambled on long enough. Hopefully you now understand basic storage and basically how Applied Energistics works. In the next video, we're going to talk about auto crafting, about how with this mod you can actually automatically craft items without really doing anything except for clicking the button once or twice, which is very, very powerful. It's pretty simple. It's actually not nearly as complicated as it might sound, and we're going to tackle that next video. Hopefully you understand Applied Energistics a little bit better. You know how you can use this to store your items. Until next episode, this is Sidetrack signing off. Have a great day, folks. Be sure to like, comment below, and tell me if I didn't make sense so then I can go back and fix it. Have a good day.